Reconnect and heal today. Welcome to Love Never Dies with Dr. Jamie Turndorf.
Love Never Dies Radio Network, broadcasting on 30, and Dr. Turndorf, Turn on the Love television show on Binge Networks Television. We're also live streaming over YouTube. I want to introduce you today to Rick Tamlyn. He inspires people to be their best. In 2001, Rick co-created The Bigger Game, a tool that inspires people from all walks of life to get out of their comfort zones and invent the lives they want. He's the author of Play Your Bigger Game, 9 Minutes to Learn, a Lifetime to Live. That's a Hay House book. He's a certified professional coactive coach, CPCC, and a master certified coach, MCC. And he is a senior trainer for the Coaches Training Institute. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Rick Tamlyn, and let's hear about how you can play your bigger game. Rick?
Well, hi, thank you for having me. With what's going on in our world right now, I can't jump right into my content. I just want to take a moment and, name, if you will, that we are being called to play a bigger game as a globe right now. And I'll go into what that means specifically, but there's a lot going on, and there is certainly stepping out of our comfort zones of daily life is what's happening right now. So I can go into it, but Dr. Jamie, you can kind of point me in a direction here of what you want me to speak about.
It's funny because last night when I was thinking about seeing you, I thought, well, how do you play your bigger game in the face of worldwide pandemic?
Yes, exactly.
Your bigger game implies, functioning at your best in every aspect of your life, at work, in relationships. So how does the bigger game apply to playing your bigger game in times like this?
Yeah, right. Well, first of all, let me just offer hopefully folks can see this. There's a model. I'm not going to literally walk through every aspect of this right now, but these are words we all know: comfort zones and hunger and bold action, and basically just a tiny bit of history, and then I'll answer your question. After working with thousands of people over the last 25 years, these are like the 9 elements that are like 9 cylinders in the engine of ourselves that have us do things that are outside of the ordinary, if you will, kind of have us step into the extraordinary part of ourselves. So that's the context of what it means to play a bigger game. You're up to something bigger than you know how to do, okay? So here's the deal that I've learned over the years. Sometimes you choose a bigger game, and sometimes one shows up in your life. So here's a simple example. My dear sweet brother, a couple years older than me, is a minister who was diagnosed with bone marrow cancer about 30 years ago now. I'll make this very brief. It was a type of cancer that doesn't exist in adults, usually exists in kids. The bottom line here is I watched his wife and my mom sort of became leaders to save his life like I've never seen. They were like, talking to the doctors, getting involved, and they became people that I just couldn't have imagined they would have become, especially my mom. Sort of a diminutive woman, kind of small, a bit shy a little bit. And she just broke through her comfort zone of being, if you will, and in my language, became a bigger game player in service of saving his life. Now he's alive and well because of those choices. So, bold conversations with doctors, all kinds of things that were outside of the norm. So that's the whole comfort zone thing. She stepped out of her comfort zone. Because when you have something that matters to you so much, we will do remarkable things. Right? Now, it's a very simple concept, but the part that I wrote in the bigger game is, let me choose something that matters to me, something that's so compelling to me that I will do things beyond my wildest imagination. Now, sometimes, again, we choose it, and sometimes it happens, quote unquote, to us. Right now, we're in a global pandemic. This is a situation that is now going to call us forth to, in my language, play a bigger game, become leaders, become innovators on how to connect better than we didn't know how to connect. You know, there's new innovation, there's new ideas that are going to come out of this. So sometimes you choose a bigger game, sometimes it shows up in your life. I think right now we're in one of those situations where this is one that has showed up.
That's it.
Right. And
you know, the terror that everyone's feeling,
yeah,
me, is the unspoken terror of, I'm afraid I'm going to die.
Yeah, right.
I don't even say die, you know, because of what happened with my husband, as you know. We just leave our bodies. So to me, the bigger game is to really expand also into the truth.
Yeah.
We don't die, we just leave our bodies. And when you really accept that, you're freer to play your bigger game in the face of a pandemic. Because how am I going to live my life if this is the time that I'm meant to leave my body? How am I going to really connect to people in such a profound way, right? That I'm going to let you know that if today is my last, I'm really going to connect to you from the deepest core of my heart and soul, right?
Yeah.
That, I think, is really part of the bigger game, because so often we don't lead with our hearts, and we're focusing on all this garbage and, oh, you left the toilet seat up and stuff that just doesn't matter.
Right. Well, you and I both know, and I make up a lot of your listeners know this, there's two energies in the world, love and fear, primarily, right? And bigger game is very much in the love territory. And there's to your point, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of fear going on, right? Survival, you know, the craziness with toilet paper, right? It's like this bizarre phenomenon that's happening, you know, it doesn't make any sense, but that fear of I'm going to run out or something, right? And let me just kind of go to the bigger game board here. You know, the comfort zone of one of the squares on the bigger game board, because, by the way, sidebar moment, this is it's like a tic-tac-toe board, right? And so you're bouncing around all the time when you play your bigger game. You know, you have to leave a comfort zone, you have to take bold action, you need allies, you need to take care of yourself, which is sustainability, you need to invest in stuff. And then there's this really fun square we called gulp, which is very simply the term that we made up that means, oh my gosh, I don't think I can do that, but I must. It's the energy of, I don't know how, but I must at the same time. And so that, you know, when you gulp, you're like, right? Like literally a real gulp. So to your point, the comfort zone, I'm going to throw it into the category of comfort zone. When you spoke about fear of dying, that's a comfort zone. That's like a habit. And you're the voice, God bless you for doing this, of like, you know what? There's no dying. There's just transforming. That's your bigger game. Your work in the world is a bigger game to take us to a new level of consciousness, of stop worrying about dying and step into the world you want to create for yourself while we're on this earth plane, because the other side is going to be amazing. So you might as well let it rip while you're here. Because you, God bless you, who knows why or how, but you've been given this remarkable sort of other side of the cosmos, if you will. You have a voice into that many of us don't have. So that's, in my language, that's your compelling purpose. You're here to tell us, and God bless you for doing it. Calm down, everybody. You know, the other side is amazing, but let's really have a good time on this side.
Right.
Please, please reframe it if you want.
The veil is so thin between
right.
this realm and the spirit realm, that it's sort of, I think, an opportunity to remember, okay, well, if you're going to switch from this realm to the other realm, well, that's okay too. But in the meanwhile, remember, your loved ones are with you right now, and they're protecting you, and they're watching over you, and they're reminding you to wash your hands, or, you know, they're just, they're helping. You know, I couldn't remember earlier in the week the name of my air conditioning service company. And it was something I bought at Home Depot, and I was
Mhm.
spending an hour trying to figure it. And then I said, John, would you please just help me? And I hear ARS,
Mm.
and that was the name.
Mhm.
If you just accept that the bigger cosmos
Yeah, I
is
know, right?
all around us, here to support us,
Right.
and you don't, I mean, when I say connect now in love, because it
Mhm.
may be your last conversation, well, it's your last conversation maybe on the earth plane, but then the conversation and the connection
Goes
just
on.
continues all the
It
same.
changes form. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what you're, and I know I keep coming back to you, but I can sort of offer wisdom for folks around how to play their bigger game. You're so clear and so committed to this message. I mean, you've created a radio show, like this matters to you so much that you're willing to do stuff to get this into the world. And the biggest challenge when we put our bigger game into the world, and I use quotes on that, is the world is going to vote about it. The world is going to have an opinion.
That's right.
And right, you're willing, what I love about you, and I'm going to pull it apart from your work, but I love about you is you are like, I'm on it. Watch me. I'm going to do this thing. And I've been watching over the years, and here you are doing a radio show with me. And I'm reflecting back to you, this is leadership, because bigger game is also a leadership model. You are pointing the world, your world, in a direction with a core belief you have. Now that takes guts. That's out of your comfort zone some days. It's bold action. The world's going to have an opinion. And that's the hardest part for people to play their bigger game, is they're trying to avoid judgment.
Right. That's a very good point, Rick. And I had to make the decision, and I
Yeah.
remember saying to myself, I am endorsing myself. And
Yes.
I said it out loud. So if you can say that because you know it's true, then you don't care what somebody else says, right? Because I'm endorsing myself. And the freedom in doing that is you're free to then go out and bring your bigger game to the world, because
Right.
it doesn't matter whether somebody likes you or doesn't like you, agrees with you or doesn't. And then I repeat again and again,
Mm.
all great people playing their bigger game arouse strongly positive and strongly negative reactions.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the way it is. If you're out there
Right.
doing something, I saw a movie last night called Finding Altamira. Did you see it?
I haven't seen it.
I didn't even know what it was, but
Yeah.
obviously I was led to it. It's
Yeah.
the story of
Right.
a homegrown anthropologist in Spain who discovers these Paleolithic caves.
Hmm.
And everybody accuses him, you're lying, you forged this. And after he leaves his body, the famous French anthropologist comes and publicly apologizes to him.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, sometimes you play your bigger game, right? And you don't even get acknowledged in this
No,
life,
absolutely.
right?
Right. Yeah. No, well, this is a term I think you'll get. It's like if your ego needs to be fed by your bigger game, it's not a bigger game. Now it's an ego-based game.
That's so good,
See,
Rick.
the language I like to play with is my soul wants to play a bigger game. My ego is freaking out as I do it.
That's so good. That's such a good distinction.
Right? Because when we're doing quote unquote our soul's work, it's not hard. There's success, there's failure, there's success, there's failure. But see, ego is voting on success or failure. The soul does not think in terms of success or failure. It has no context there. I'm here to express myself. And I love what you said a minute ago. It's like, we're here to express ourselves as humans on this earth plane. That's what bigger game means. What's the expression of me that I want to put into the world? Mine happens to be this book and this thing called Play Your Bigger Game. I'm helping people play a bigger game. That's my expression. And the people think I'm crazy. Can you make a living at it? All the standard questions come at me, and I go, I get it. You get to ask all those questions. But I also know that, and I think you believe this too, Jamie, inside all of us, there's this part of us that wants to do this work, if you will, and it's scared to do it. Now, there's people who pop through and just decide to do it, like the Steve Jobs and and they've made businesses out of it. But there's also millions and millions and millions of people, as we know, that are sort of sitting on that thing that's sort of gnawing in their consciousness, or maybe it's coming in and say, do this, because I know that's how it also works, and they're not acting on it.
You know, I agree with you. And what I think the clue to what your game is your greatest injury. Right?
Of course. Oh my God.
Right
Right.
out of your core wound.
You got it.
Is your calling. The core wound is the calling.
Yep.
Somebody said to me, you know, because I was born 3 months early, I only weighed 2 pounds, and I should not have lived in a body in the late 50s.
Right.
And I saw a psychic, and she said, your calling was born in the crib, in the preemie hospital, because there I was for the first 3 months alone after having been born 3 months early. She said, you made the decision that you did not want other people to feel the pain of disconnection that you were feeling. So it's like, you have no choice, right? Because this is killing me. And I know, even to this day, I'm very acutely aware of this part of myself. You know, if I'm sick, you know, and I'm alone, that core place that I can go to of, oh my God, what that felt like to be so alone and so scared. And so I can easily go there. It's so in my DNA to go to that place. And I know that when we ask ourselves, right, what is my core wound? That's your calling.
Yeah. First of all, I cannot align with you more on the concept of that our wound is our greatest gift. And our Western culture, for whatever reason, and you're a voice and I'm a voice of a little bit countercultural, is that stop trying to get over your wound and create wisdom from your wound.
Exactly. And, you know, maybe you could talk a little bit in the next segment about, you know, because you and I are always so intimate with each other. It's so funny, no matter how long it goes.
I know, right?
And then we just come right into the deep end. So let's take a break. When we come back, maybe we could talk about your own personal.
Oh, you got it. Easy. So willing to go anywhere, by the way.
Oh, wonderful. It's so
Open book.
Wherever we need to go. We'll be back in a moment on Love Never Dies Radio and Dr. Turndorf, Turn on the Love on Binge Networks TV. Hi, it's Dr. Jamie Turndorf here, and I have a question for you. Are you or someone you love a veteran suffering from undiagnosed PTSD? According to statistics, between 100 and 200,000 vets suffer PTSD. But did you know that there's an arbitrary diagnostic loophole that denies the PTSD diagnosis to vets who suffer a coexisting mental health disorder? Meanwhile, according to the British Psychiatric Journal, it is rare for vets to suffer PTSD without a coexisting mental health disorder. This means that millions of vets with PTSD don't even know they have it and aren't getting treatment for it. Read my new column, Winning the War on PTSD, in mastersofhealthmag.com and discover a cutting-edge, research-backed new solution to PTSD that you've never heard about. The exciting news is this solution is free for vets with PTSD. Go to mastersofhealthmag.com, take my free PTSD quiz right away, and start your healing journey today. Wishing you all the love in this world and beyond, I'm Dr. Jamie Turndorf.
Love Never Dies is now on the Dream Vision 7 radio network every Wednesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. Eastern Time. Dr. Jamie Turndorf, also known as Dr. Love, is the #1 international best-selling author of Love Never Dies, How to Reconnect and Make Peace with the Deceased. If you're grieving the loss of a loved one, tune in and find out how to reconnect and heal any unfinished business using Dr. Turndorf's groundbreaking new Dialoguing with the Departed technique. Visit AskDrLove.com to find out more.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
You're listening to Love Never Dies with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. If you yearn to get along better with your life partner or spouse, friends, family members, and even coworkers, Dr. Turndorf's book, Kiss Your Fights Goodbye, Dr. Love's 10 Simple Steps to Cooling Conflict and Rekindling Your Relationship, shows you how to turn conflict into connection for a lifetime of lasting love. Find out more about Kiss Your Fights Goodbye at AskDrLove.com. This is Love Never Dies with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. This show is for you, the listener. Once again, here's Dr. Turndorf.
Hello again, and welcome back to Love Never Dies Radio and Dr. Turndorf. Turn on the love on Binge Networks TV. And of course, Love Never Dies Radio is on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. We had quite the laugh because I was telling Rick through the chat, right, that my engineer, when we first began, said to me, I'm releasing the stream now. And I said, oh no, I don't want to be a peon. So I mean, it's like this. And so when the commercials didn't begin to stream, I started texting him and chatting him and saying, what's going on? Are you releasing the stream? So he said he has an enlarged prostate. That's why it was delayed. And what's so funny is then, Rick, you had to go to.
Well, I'll jump in on that middle-aged man thing, right?
I know. So then then you needed to know how long the break was, and I'm like, and I'm chatting you, go pee. But I'm not sure. I thought you came back quickly, so I think your prostate enlargement test came up positive. You didn't take long the break. So
wow, we are very personal on your call. I love your show. Now. Yeah.
So we're going from peeing to core wound. That's what we said we were going to talk about, right?
Yes.
So we're going to talk about how your core wound led to your calling.
Yeah. And let me just connect the dot with bigger game. You know, calling is bigger game is my version of, you know, what's your calling and how do you make it real? And my thing in the world was how to help people make their calling into something very real and very tangible, whether it's a business or whether it's a workshop, whether it's a book, whether it's a movie, whether it's a project, because calling can live in that land of the ethereal a little bit. And I'm like, okay, let's turn this into a bigger game is very tangible. So, you know, like this book is tangible, right? It's like, you know, so I'm helping people in that territory, help them with their bigger game. But back to your beautiful point, which I completely align with, is if we really tap in, the pain, the wound is the source of our greatest wisdom. Here's my version, and I mean this with the most respect to my family life. They've heard me say it. I have done my inner work with this, but I'm a gay man, and I came out. I forget the years. It was when it wasn't so good. I'm 61 now. It was 42 years ago or whatever.
Same age. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I know, right? Aren't the 60s fascinating?
Oh.
That's a different call. We'll do that on a different call. Anyway, when I came out, it didn't go so well. My church wasn't so cool with it. My minister wasn't so cool with it. My mom wasn't so cool with it. There was a lot of jumping back in the closet. Right. And then I went off to a Christian college, did my best. I won't go into the details, but I dated women, you know, the whole like stay in the lane. You're a good Christian kid until finally you can't. Right. You just, you know, my soul is whatever. I came into this earth. I do believe, by the way, it's not a choice. I don't think one chooses gay. I would never have chosen that much judgment at me. Why would I have chosen that?
Absolutely.
So it's just a thing. I don't know where it comes from. It's divine, I believe, and I'm all good with it. But in that closeted space, if you will, you know, the depression and the sort of shutdown is huge. And then it came out, and then the creativity that comes out when you're out is off the charts. So that concept of closeted and out is the distinction of, you know, are you going to come out about your bigger game or not? Bigger game it outs you. And welcome to being completely judged. And half the country thinks I should be burning in hell. No problem. The other half, I don't know where they're at. And the other half, you know, like lots of people, by the way, sort of meet me and then go, oh, you're gay. You're my first gay person or something. And I'm like, really? You know, come on now. So you get my point. So The business I'm in these days is I even talk about this at my conference, which we're having in October still, God willing, is I out you. Welcome to coming out. And your bigger game is an outing process. So the wound of closeted to out informed the work I really do in the world. So people hire me as a coach and a trainer and a speaker and all those standard things, but the wrap inside, the wrapping that's all in is I'm going to out you.
I love that.
So if you hire me, welcome to coming out.
So either you're going to be an innie or an outie.
An outie or an innie, right? You know, because you can't be a secret and be a success. Sorry, you can't be, yeah, that's what it is. You can't be a secret and be a success at the same time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what I like about what's so special about you? You know, I was thinking about how in so many ways you and I are similar in that I'm connecting souls.
Yes, you are.
You know, the spirit plane. And what I love about you is you are a born supporter.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you talk to me, the feeling is you're my greatest advocate. Mm-hmm. You are so behind me. You have the feeling of the most supportive and loving parent, you know, the parent who just endorses whatever you are. And in and of itself, that is what we need to be able to come out and be ourselves. Because not all of us have had that feeling, you know, growing up in our deformative years.
Right. Oh, I love it. Oh, that's a great term. Oh my God, that's genius, Dr. Jamie. Oh my God, the formative years.
Right.
I'm sure that's
so you come and you give this correction because there's a feeling of being so enveloped by you. And it's not technique. It's from your soul. This is who you are. Your journey is to really support and lift me up and everyone up. And you're not competitive and you're not jealous. And so, of course, I'll let you out me.
Right.
I know you're going to catch me. I'm not going to fall.
Right. Well, thank you for that. I think we all have kind of a superpower. Yeah, I love that term these days. And you're right. I think that's so just a little bit about me to say it, but I love helping people play their bigger game, you know, and who am I to decide if it's good or bad? It's not my job. Like to support you or to support my clients in like, this is your thing you want to put in the world, then, because here's what I believe, and I know you do too. It's coming through them. It's not coming from them.
That's it. That's it.
The ego is it's coming from me. The soul is it's coming through me.
That's a divine, it's sort of like you're a tuning fork.
Right.
Divine music is resonating through you.
Right. And so I also tell people who do the bigger game workshop, because it's a workshop, it's a book, it's a conference, it's everything. And I say, stop hunting for your bigger game for a little while. Stop looking so hard for it. Let it find you.
Absolutely.
Now, I know you believe in this concept too. It's I love Elizabeth Gilbert's great TED Talk, where she talks about sort of there's information floating around out there in the ethers, in the spiritual domain, and creative ideas are looking for a home to make them real. And an idea will come to us. I love this concept, and I know you get it. It's like an idea will come to me, and either I'll make it real or not.
If I don't resonate with your,
it might not resonate.
Like I thought one day when I went to go to the toilet, I guess I'm in now on the toilet mode since our last. So I had to pee, and I sit down, and the toilet seat is freezing.
Yeah.
And my butt cheeks feel like two icicles, and I think, wouldn't it be great to invent a heated toilet seat? Okay. But was it my calling to do so? No. But somebody else picked it up on the energy pipeline, and now there's a heated toilet seat.
Yeah, of course. Exactly. That's that whole concept. Like, is it my bigger game? No. Like when I watch an ad about the whales or the earth or something, it's not my bigger game. No. I'll send money to it. I'll be an ally for it, but it's like, oh, that's not my thing. You know, so it's that.
Yeah.
And yeah. I think the other, if I were to go spiritual for a second, it's, you know, we're all individualized expressions of the divine. And we all want to express something while we're here, whether that's in a business format or whether that's a book and I I believe at my core now that humans are here to create. That's why like having a family is the energy of creation.
Absolutely.
And we get to the end of our life and we look back and say, what makes us feel the best and the most whole is that's what I created, not that's what I got.
And you know, when I think about creation, I always say this time on the earth plane is our love lab. And we're here to create loving connections.
Yeah.
Love with ourselves, love with others. And when you think about what you're creating, if you boil it down, it's love.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Love, it's connection, isn't it? No
Yeah.
matter what you're doing.
Well, what I love about the love thing brought into this, of course, is like if you're not loving doing your bigger game, it's not your bigger game. That's now a project.
Right? And your bigger game involves you have to love yourself,
Yeah.
to believe in it and come out. And then there's an element of helping others to love better in whatever you're doing.
Right. Absolutely.
And that this is our love lab. I'm convinced of that. This
Yeah.
time on the earth plane is our love lab.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about you, and I'm reminded of it today, is your ability to give context and a concept to the human experience from us, right? You named it, like this is a love lab, right? That's a way to look at life.
Nobody
And
has
what
ever told me that before except Jean, my husband in spirit. And
Yeah.
I got it until you said it.
Yeah, that's what you do masterfully. You do many things, but see, when you give, and I dare say it's a leadership skill, when you give us, and in this case, me right now listening to you, a context for life, I calm down.
Oh, I see. Because it's sort of like this crazy world now is something manageable. That
Right.
makes sense. It's something I can do.
I can be, but it's like a context. That's a little bit of a weird word, but it's the container in which I need to be in. And you create containers of sort of, one of your things. So it's all going to be okay, everybody. This is the love, this is the love lab. Like, welcome to the love lab. And inside of that, it's kind of confusing and chaotic and, but remember, it's a love lab, everybody. So we're learning. I calm down.
Yeah, because it's something, it makes sense. We can see the boundaries.
Right.
It's wonderful you acknowledge that. And even within the love lab, I might be angry at you.
Of course.
Right?
No, this is not about good behavior.
I think that's important now as we're going through this pandemic. We're stuck at home.
Yep.
Tempers are rising.
Yep.
And so how do I still hold you in love when I want to beat your face in?
Of course. Well, I just had a call before this call with about 60 people in that conversation. It was a leadership development call. As leaders, I dare say, it's again, bigger game is a leadership context to it. And let me just offer your listeners, everyone's a leader because I'm a leader of my life. Right. So I want to, broaden the term, I'm not a leader because I don't run a company, and like, no. We're all leaders of our lives. So this idea that we all need to be with each other in this very unique wobbly space, because our world is changing minute by minute in its format and its structures. And I love your term love lab, because if I can be with my partner who we're sequestered, by the way, I'm in Palm Springs, California. We're one of 2 cities that are shut down. I think others are coming. San Francisco and Palm Springs don't leave the house except to walk your dog. Many reasons why I think it was a wise choice from our mayor. Where was I going with that? Oh, but when you're
stuck together.
Yeah, you've given me the context of it's a love lab. So now as I get mad at my partner, Chuck, or I'm so frustrated, if I can remember this is a love lab, then I can still be mad at him, and we can kind of clear the space with each other and kind of like yell at each other. But just remember, it's all in service of a lab of learning how to love better.
Right.
And I
look,
love your term. I love that term. I'm just going to borrow that. I'm borrowing, by the way.
I practice what I preach. Okay. You were a couple of minutes late. My initial reaction was, I was angry.
I'm sure.
I
You had every right to be.
It put me under stress,
Yeah.
going out live on YouTube.
Yeah, I know.
And that was my initial feeling.
Right.
And I did what I always teach everyone else to do. You have to filter the raw emotion through the imaginary sieve of your observing ego,
Right.
and decide what's going to be the best communication or the best use of this feeling that's going to be in support of our relationship and our loving connection.
Yeah.
And so in that case, I literally went through the calculation.
Yeah.
Just don't say anything. It's, because if I'm going to, people do this. It's like, I'm going to let it rip. I'm going to gratify myself.
Right.
I feel better for the moment, but now I've got my poop all over you.
Right.
So we really, playing the bigger game is pulling up your big boy pants.
Yes. Well,
not dumping your turn on somebody because it feels good. Right.
Well, you're naming, first of all, let me just have a public apology for the late. Well, I just want to say, oh God, there's a lot of logistics happening and the internet had a anyway.
Stuff is going on now.
Yeah, exactly. So, but brilliant moment, by the way, of creating learning from that circumstance. Right. So now you're bringing that learning into this call for your listeners to learn. And I love that concept, to create learning. It's called live learning. Yeah. Right. It's literal. So, apologies for the moment, and almost thrilled that it happened, because now we get to dissect it and use it.
And guess what? I ran 2 minutes over into the next segment because we were so excited about this. Let's take a quick break and we'll be back in a moment.
Okay, good.
Hi, it's Dr. Jamie Turndorf here, and I have a question for you. Are you or someone you love a veteran suffering from undiagnosed PTSD? According to statistics, between 100 and 200,000 vets suffer PTSD. But did you know that there's an arbitrary diagnostic loophole that denies the PTSD diagnosis to vets who suffer a coexisting mental health disorder? Meanwhile, according to the British Psychiatric Journal, it is rare for vets to suffer PTSD without a coexisting mental health disorder. This means that millions of vets with PTSD don't even know they have it and aren't getting treatment for it. Read my new column, Winning the War on PTSD, in mastersofhealthmag.com and discover a cutting-edge, research-backed new solution to PTSD that you've never heard about. The exciting news is this solution is free for vets with PTSD. Go to mastersofhealthmag.com, take my free PTSD quiz right away, and start your healing journey today. Wishing you all the love in this world and beyond, I'm Dr. Jamie Turndorf.
Love Never Dies is now on the Dream Vision 7 radio network every Wednesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. Eastern Time. Dr. Jamie Turndorf, also known as Dr. Love, is the #1 international best-selling author of Love Never Dies, How to Reconnect and Make Peace with the Deceased. If you're grieving the loss of a loved one, tune in and find out how to reconnect and heal any unfinished business using Dr. Turndorf's groundbreaking new Dialoguing with the Departed technique. Visit AskDrLove.com to find out more.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
You're listening to Love Never Dies with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. If you can't stop crying over the bodily loss of a loved one, Dr. Turndorf's #1 international bestseller, Love Never Dies, How to Reconnect and Make Peace with the Deceased, will show you how to toss out the tissues and transform your grief into joy using her groundbreaking new Dialoguing with the Departed technique that enables you to reconnect and even heal unfinished business with those in spirit without the assistance of a medium, channeler, or psychic. Sign up for Dr. Love's free newsletter at AskDrLove.com and receive an exciting gift, a free excerpt of Love Never Dies. And now, back to Love Never Dies with Dr. Jamie Turndorf.
Hello again, and welcome back to Love Never Dies Radio on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network and Dr. Turndorf, Turn on the Love on Binge Networks TV. Rick, I was so sorry I had to cut you off.
No worries.
You were saying.
Oh my gosh, that was a minute ago. New thought. Here's a new thought. During these very interesting times, to your point around the behavior, the standard behavior that starts to get activated. I think the other thing that needs to come into this is sort of a voice that wants to come through me right now to say is to sort of be of grace with each other. You know, these are times that are unheard of. We're in unprecedented territory with each other. So we have to sort of find unprecedented behaviors and unprecedented forgiveness. I think this is calling us to a new level of how to be with each other, right from our microscopic sort of home energy and also to the globe.
That's right. That's a bigger game right now.
That's a bigger game right now, is how do we want to be together now as a globe? Because this is this virus has now become an equalizer, you know, and I was pleasantly excited about the G7 leaders of the world. We're on a video call with each other on Monday talking about this. You know, this is the classic case of something has arrived on the planet that we can choose to come together and work this out, or we can go the other direction and go to self-survival. And, you know, and I am holding in my heart, my bigger game is that this is a come together moment. And in your language, Dr. Jamie, is the sort of, let's lean into the love of this and the love of each other. It's sort of obvious. It sort of sounds so obvious to say it, but you know, we can get scared or we can fall in love with each other. That's a choice.
Yeah. And, you know, when you aggravate me, you know, I say to people, oh, if you can go into action and whip out an uncivil tongue, you can also go into action and walk the other way and go to the bathroom and splash water on your face.
Right.
You know, because whatever you say and do boomerangs back on you. And while it may feel good in the moment to get your rocks off on someone, on the rocks is where your relationship ends up. Whatever you say and do boomerangs back on you. So as a global human race, we've got to be thinking before we speak, is this going to be helpful or destructive? And if it's not going to be helpful, don't say it. And if it's only helpful for you because you get your rocks off, you're going to hurt the other person you're hurting you. Yeah. It's an invitation really for all of us to grow up.
It is, I would agree, because the adolescent is very reactionary. And I think the healthy adult in us is very responsible.
Yeah.
You know, but the adolescent energy is very, you know, gossipy and all that sort of
and
reactive.
Impulsive. And as a world, there's a lot of impulsivity and people just saying what they want to say without consequence. It's a sort of very uncivil world that we've been living in. Yeah. Very, very frightening to me. Right. So I think, to me, this is a real wake-up call to how are you going to treat others? Are you going to continue just dumping your garbage, you know?
Yep. And the antidote, a little tip that in my land is the antidote to judgment is curiosity, authentic curiosity. You know, it's very simple. It's like, if I can be authentically curious with you, I don't have room for judgment of you, because you can't have two thoughts at the same time in the brain.
Exactly. And also what happens is so often we negatively distort what's being said or done. I'm assuming the worst possible interpretation. You meant to put me down. You meant to dump me or reject me. But what if I use your brilliant idea about being curious? Is there even a 1% chance that I might be wrong in how I've interpreted you? Well, let me lean in and ask you what you meant.
Yeah, exactly.
Said or did. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, so many fights would be head off.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Because you know, that simple concept of authentic curiosity, I mean, it could save marriages, it can save relations, it can save our globe.
Absolutely.
You know, like, what's it like for you, China, right now? What's it like for you, Japan? Like, what's it like? I travel the world a lot, and it's a sort of a sidebar moment, but I think it'll serve, you know, the concept of sort of training people to be culturally aware, you know, like what are the customs that I need to know before I go to South Korea or something like that. And I never could get my head around that, because it's like I'm trained to sort of be appropriate instead of going over there and going, okay, so I'm an American, I don't understand. Tell me what I need to know to honor your culture. Like, and they love training me. They're like, oh my God, thank you for asking. And then I want to say, and I want to make sure I don't offend if I move my hand that way. Oh, good, train me. You know, so it's in that training, if you will, connection is created. So curiosity really creates the connection. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's a very simple tool to be rather than to be trained to be good, let me be curious to then be connected.
And you are connecting. That is love in action.
Yeah, exactly.
That really is. And, you know, just listening is love in action. If I really am listening to what you're saying, I'm loving you, right?
Yeah, right. Well, I love your concept too of, am I listening to actually what they're hearing, or am I interpreting with what I'm hearing? Because as soon as I interpret, I've made up meaning that is either accurate or not. And then I have to be curious and said, here's what I've made up about what you said.
Is that right? You know.
And then they go yes or no or counteroffer, right?
Mostly, if you're reacting negatively, you're doing a distortion based on some trauma you suffered in your formative years, and you're distorting in a negative way. You're now the mother who's putting me down, the father who's criticizing me. If you're having a negative reaction, you're not fully in the here and now.
Yeah. Well, I love that therapy context of, it's usually linked to some voice that happened to me earlier, and I've just recreated it now as an adult. I mean, we recreate our stuff, right? I mean, that's the magic work you do. You help people realize, oh, I'm recreating the exact thing with my mother, my father, my brother, my uncle.
Yeah.
You know.
So, you know, I always love being with you, and I always feel lifted up by you, and I feel bigger in my game just from being with you. So in the last 4 minutes, I'd like you to share with everyone how he or she can connect with you.
Sure.
Learn to play his or her bigger game. Give us the whole context.
Sure. So, connection-wise, it's ricktamlyn.com. Very simple. RickTamlyn.com. Big website, the whole deal. There's video, right? You can, you know, the book is a Hay House book on Amazon. Play Your Bigger Game. Type that into Amazon. We do a conference every year. If you go to ricktamlyn.com, we're doing a conference in Palm Springs this year. And it's very much in the land, just a tiny commercial for it. It's very much in the land of being, sort of what's your soul's calling. And then it goes to the doing. It's going to get very tactical, very strategic. Because sometimes we get in touch with the being, but we don't do enough doing. And for some of us, we do too much doing and we don't have enough being. So this event is very much in that land of being and doing. I just want to offer, so that's the way to find me and to sort of jump into my world. But I so want to make sure I say to your listeners, you, Dr. Jamie Turndorf, I know we don't see each other or talk to each other very much, but she is playing a bigger game, everybody. That's what it means to play a bigger game, to come up with a context for a living that you don't know where it comes from, but it came to you and you dared to turn it into a form and you wrote a book about it and you believe it from your core and you do a radio show about it because the other thing about playing a bigger game is commitment to it without attachment to the outcomes. Without attachment. And you right? It's like you are in the game, you know, and you don't know if you're going to score or, you know, the whole metaphor of score or win, who knows? But I just want to make sure you guys want to understand what it means to play a bigger game. Look to Dr. Jamie and look to other people who are doing profound work in the world. So it's been an honor to be in the conversation with you, and to all of you listeners out there, bigger game, let it come through you. Don't worry about trying to figure it out. And I'm here as a resource if anybody wants to have a phone call.
You truly do walk the walk. Everything you do, Rick, comes from the purest and highest intention. It is so wonderful that I know you. I often think of you. I know we don't speak often, but I often think, oh, I wish we would.
Yeah.
And maybe we will.
Well, maybe we will from this. This maybe have activated a new level of our work together. Who knows?
I would love to. And so in the last minute, one point you want everyone to hold.
Good. Here's the point. I believe that life is governed primarily by the conversations we're having. And there's two conversations we're having, the one in our heads with ourselves and the one with others outside of ourselves. Bigger game is a guided conversation. And so, and Dr. Jamie, you are in the conversation business of talking to the other side. So it's still that context of conversations of designing your life. So for those of you out there with what's going on in the world, be conscious of the conversations you're having.
Wonderful. That's so wonderful, Rick. I just loved our conversation. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. You too, honey. See you next time on Love Never Dies Radio and Dr. Turndorf, Turn on the Love. Bye-bye for now.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.